Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are making a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we got our oscillation sine function working for our bat pursue state here. So they chase us around as well as spit us when they're in range. So we have a decent working entity for the bat. You know, it's got the pursue logic, it's got the attack logic, it's got the flee logic. So I'm very happy with that. And I'm not exactly sure, and today will be some planning, right? Because now that we have the bats, we need to decide what we're going to do with them, how we're going to design a dungeon for them, and what that might look like so that we can get our demo finished. The artwork for the bat is actually growing on me. I initially kind of drew it really fast off the cuff with intent of redoing it at some point, which we might do. I think they look fine for now. Maybe we'll do a pass once it's closer to demo release time and see if we want to in fact change the atlas for the bats, but at least for right now it's not an eyesore enough for me to want to work on it right now, so I'd rather dive into other stuff. So the game plan for the stream and the channel here has been, we're going to plan the road to the demo, right? So I kind of listed out a bunch of things we need for the demo, and I plotted it out on this Kanban board. So the idea was we pick the hardest things first and knock out hardest things first and work our way down to the easiest. That way, as we get closer to the deadline, as we get closer to publishing the demo, all that's left is the easier and easier stuff. So like we're front loading all the friction so we can kind of coast and be able to finish the demo. So that was the kind of reasoning, and we got a lot of complicated stuff done, because if we look at what we've done, we did pushables, right? So we can push the object, which requires a whole different class of pushables. It requires our player collision detection with a pushable. It requires changing the animation and actually pushing and logic for that. We have destructibles, so we can break down crates and be able to put little coins inside, and we added coin picking up. We added a treasure chest class, so we can put a treasure chest in a dungeon and open it and get something out of it. Yeah, we got the coin class for earning coin, and then we've got these key items that we can push and then lock in place. So something like a secret doorway that we can push, like we could push a boulder to unblock a doorway. We can kind of lock that boulder in place so that you don't have to push it every time. So that's useful for shortcuts once you get the green tunic of strength. So all of that stuff was what I decided was the hardest stuff to tackle, and we've done those. And we've also added a whole new enemy, bats. So if we take a look at what's left, we have a dungeon to develop, right? I say 8 scenes or so, 8 screens of dungeon to kind of work our way through, to make it feel kind of substantial to earn the tunic or to work your way through the dungeon. And then the other stuff we have is, we have a little opening cinematic, we have the title screen, we have some scripted expositional dialogue for the beginning, some scripted dialogue stuff for the tutorial on how to play, overworld music, which we haven't done. We need to kind of finalize a decent chunk of the screens for exploration outside of the dungeon. We do have this. Oh, no, we don't have this just yet. But we did touch up inventory art. Magic dust is a item that we might be able to use. I don't know what it might do, but we also have a basic shop. Steam support, I say that because that's going to be like, I don't know, I've never submitted a game to Steam. I don't know what the process is like, so that's why I'm really wanting to do this project on stream and or be able to condense all the stuff I figure out, edit it into a video, so I can say, if you want to get your thing published, your game on published on Steam, here's a list of the stuff that you can do and what the process is like. I don't know if that entails adding gamepad support. I know it does require a decent chunk of a game to be playable. And it also requires a bunch of assets and the $100 to get it hosted on Steam. But in the grand scheme of things, for the demo, a lot of the tough stuff is done. Then we just have some design stuff and maybe some extra overworld art, but it's easy for us to place the artwork in because we have all the systems for that. We have, like if we wanted to add a shop, it's not that hard because we have a coin count. We have a clerk we can talk to. So all we'd have to do for a shop is essentially we'd have to create like a little UI for like what things are available and how much coin. And then if you try to buy it without enough coin, it won't let you. And if you try to buy it with enough coin, you'll get it in your inventory. So we've got this guy where you can talk. So we can place certain things on the countertop here, or we can add a whole new display, right? Maybe we have a whole menu that we can load once we talk to the shopkeep, and you can select a couple of different things. But I don't know what we're gonna sell because I don't know. We don't really have anything in mind. We haven't got that far yet to think about this stuff. Yeah, good accessibility features, exactly. I think that's gonna be I don't think that's gonna be that tough. I say that, but I feel like someone for Lua or Love2d has maybe ported. I don't know what the gamepad support would look like on Lua, so I guess I can't say that it'll be easy because I've never done it. So I would think it wouldn't be that hard. One thing I do think I want to do is probably after the demo, so that we can just get the demo out. After the demo, I want to rehaul all of our touch and input logic, so that we're doing things based on whatever the input table is, essentially. So like, I don't want to have to say if W is down, walk up, or if the touch is colliding with the D-pad up button, then walk up. I don't want to have to say those two things. So I want to kind of convert things into keyboard has a whole output table of all the values, and we update our logic based on what's in those values. It's easier said than done because there's a bunch of stuff like which button was pressed in which order, which direction has to overwrite what direction when you're walking or holding contradictory inputs and stuff like that. But I do want to make it so that I want to be able to deploy every git push. I want to be able to deploy what we've got onto the website and have it work for touch without having to dig around and make sure we configure everything to accept the touch inputs and everything. So like, I think there's a way we can figure it out where we're updating the game's logic based on a input list table that receives input from both the keyboard and touch and just calculates it and handles it off the bat, so that we can just git push any keyboard stuff and we know what to do in case the touch equivalent is executed in game. So that'll be after the demo, I think. I don't know, shop is like a nice if we have, but also we don't have anything to buy from the shop. So maybe he has the first instrument, maybe he has a lute. Maybe he has an element for spell casting that you have to explore outside of the dungeon or in the dungeon to get a couple coins so that you can buy the element so that you can beat the bats and go deeper into the dungeon. So maybe he sells you the first element. I kind of feel like your teacher should sell you, or should, I don't know. But today's stream isn't going to be as much programming as it is going to be about trying to figure out what the next steps are. So I kind of like the idea of our teacher character kind of giving us a rundown on this world, but he can't help us and he'll kind of show up. He'll be kind of vague about when he's going to show up next to help you. So you won't see him again until you purchase the element from the shopkeep here for 10 or whatever. He thinks it's junk. He thinks it's just a dull rock or something. But once you get it, you can charge it up and then use it to cast spells and stuff. That's my current kind of idea. So maybe he sells the dull stone that you can then charge with an element. I don't know how that works, but I'm just spitballing. Because we need something to buy if we have the shopkeeper, so we only really have a loot or an element, right? Because we do have berries, but we don't have a way to use berries just yet. So we could potentially use berries as something to distract bats. I kind of wanted my game as a whole to have two kind of aspects in terms of the enemies. I want, and this is, just spitballing, where it's like, I want to do spellcast abilities for corrupted enemies, and then normal items for uncorrupted enemies. That's an idea I've got. If he thinks it's junk, maybe he gives it to you for free when you purchase an instrument from him. Oh, I like that idea. So maybe the junk is super expensive and you're like, wow, I can't afford that. And then you buy the instrument from him and he's like, no one's interested in this rock, so I'll just throw it in for free if you want to buy the loot from me, sort of deal. Yeah, and then maybe our teacher can come over and be like, hey, I see you got that element. We just need to charge it with some vibrancy and then you're good to go. I like that idea. I like that little twist. It just adds a little bit of character. It's not so much like get 5 coins and do it. I like the little uniqueness like that. I think that's cool. So I kind of want to save our normal items for enemies that aren't corrupted, and in order to get uncorrupted enemies, there's a bunch of lore. Like I'm still figuring it out, but the bats are corrupted with this purple goo, right? And then once we damage them with our spell cast, it'll cleanse them of this corruption. Then they turn to a normal animal, but they fly away. Now, if you leave the area and come back, they'll be corrupt again. That's because the whole area is corrupted. So they just keep getting corrupted. You can't destroy them because you don't kill them, and the area in general is still corrupted. So the idea is every biome has a series of enemies and boss, essentially. Once you defeat the boss, you get the special tome, I'm calling it, which is these things. And the tome is basically sheet music for you to play your music. And if you play your music, it will calm the ecosystem in some way, and it'll cease the oozing of corruption in the biome. So once you play the tome and solve the puzzle for that biome, maybe you have to stand in a certain spot and play the music correctly. Then it'll soothe that biome and ease up the corruption, and then the enemies won't be corrupted and evil anymore. Then there's another little aspect where we have these normal items like berries, or I have this little baggie. I don't know. It doesn't do anything right now, but we can equip it. So like maybe it's a berry, maybe it's a bag of dust or whatever. I know because Link's Awakening has that magic dust you get from the witch, and you can use it on certain enemies. So my thought was like, we only have maybe 5 different enemies. We've got bats, geckos, crows, scorpions, boars, and each of them have, scorpions are in the desert, boars are in the forest, bats are in the dungeon, crows are in the volcano mountain. We had something for ice. I've got my notes somewhere. I'll have to find. I forgot what's up in the ice. Maybe the crows were up in the ice, and bats were also in the volcano area, as well as the dungeon. So my thought was like, maybe we have these corresponding normal items that go with the cleansed animals. So it's like you have to use a specific spell cast would be effective against a certain corrupted animal. But then once you cleanse the biome and turn them into normal animals, then you have to feed the bats berries, or you have to feed the boars apples, or you have to feed the crows seeds, or you have to do something to the scorpions. I don't know what scorpions like. Cactus fruit. I don't know. But like, I like that idea of like, depending on what biome you're in, depending on if the enemy is corrupted or not, you need a different set of tools to get what you need to get done. And then the elements will be like, there's certain enemies, like this fire spell is kind of made for the bat enemies, because they'll crawl towards you and they stop just outside of this range, so you're able to hit them with your spell cast. Versus maybe the crows are further from you or something, and a different type of spell cast will like blast a horizontal or vertical line across the screen, so we can kind of develop the different corrupted enemies for the different spells. So that's kind of my idea for that, but I guess that's out of scope for the dungeon. So maybe we can... Hey Soup, hey, welcome in. Scorpions are carnivorous. So what do they eat in real world? Just other bugs? Thank you for the sub, dude. I appreciate that. That is nuts. 11 months, dude. That's epic. I'm not sure if you've seen the credits, but you're up there in the credits. Bugs and mice. That's interesting. But we might have to plan out. So like in terms of the and Soup, I don't know if you've seen the bats yet, the new bats here. So we've got they're all cleansed already. Hold on. We have to reset their corruption once we come back in. Yeah, I've been all over the place, Soup. I've been all over the place. Sometimes it's late, sometimes... the thing is, I got work across town in the morning, so I got to be up at like 5:30 tomorrow. So the bats here, they track us, they wiggle, and they also attack us by spitting. So we've got these enemies. Now we just need to kind of think of how to design the dungeon for this type of entity, and the tunic that's going to be inside. So once we get to the end of the dungeon, we don't get a coin. We'll get the green tunic, and then we'll be able to push items. So yeah, I hope you're doing well, Soup. I know it's been a little while since we really talked, but hope you're doing well. I know I don't know, it's so hard to stay consistent streaming times, I was doing really good for a while, streaming at 7, but I just couldn't keep it up. We got these destructibles, so we can hide coins or other things inside the crates, at least in the dungeon. So I don't know if we want to make a different type of destructible for the dungeon that makes more sense, so that there's not like wooden crates in the dungeon. I'm not sure that makes a lot of sense. But the other thing was, I'm thinking like, I was thinking that we wanted to do some Sokoban style puzzle in the dungeon. So like the bats are flying towards you. You're kind of surrounded by pits, right? So like in the dungeon, there's going to be a lot of these pits that you can fall into. Yet there's a bunch of obstacles in your way, so you have to... Yo, nice, dude. I really like Tmux. The crappy thing is, though, the Windows subsystem for Linux, and Tmux and Love2d, if I ever disconnect from my session and reattach, whenever I run my Love game, it plays behind my terminal, and then I can't interact with it, and it's really frustrating. So I don't like Tmux on WSL. That's... yeah. I do want to switch to only Mac, but my main driver is the PC, so it's kind of where I'm at. So like if we imagine like a bunch of the pits and like big lengths, you know, big chasms in the dungeon here of pits, then you know, the idea is that they get close and they shoot us with some knockback, so they can knock us into a pit, just like they shot us outside. So they can, you know, they can push you into the pit, which is a little annoying. So you have to cleanse them. So if you don't have the element, from the shop just yet, and you haven't learned how to cast magic, you're probably not going to get through the dungeon, because the bats are just going to knock you dead. So I think the order of operations would be explore and get destructible crates so that you can get enough coin to earn the element from the shop. Once you have that, you can explore the dungeon and cast magic. And then I'm kind of thinking, so like I was thinking that we wanted Sokoban style puzzles in the dungeon, so that you have to kind of navigate the bats and push these blocks and cast these spells, all while the bats are kind of coming after you. But then I thought about the whole goal of the dungeon was to have the green tunic at the end of the dungeon. So once you have the green tunic on, that's when you're able to actually push these pushables. So if we're earning this tunic at the end of the dungeon, we can't have the ability to push crates to get to the treasure chest at the deep end of the dungeon. So I'm thinking now, okay, here, let me draw this out, because I'm thinking, I still like this idea. Like, I think the green tunic should be in the dungeon, but here, let's... I want to kind of like plan out a game plan for the dungeon and stuff. So if my idea is like, let's say this is like a scene of the dungeon and you can work your way through, right? Scene to scene, and then maybe, you know, we have a couple different doorways, and maybe the tunic is right here. So maybe the tunic's in like this third dungeon or something. So the first two dungeons are like easing you in, right? So like maybe there's like little pathways where you have to traverse without falling in, and you can, you know, attack the bats, and maybe there's more bats and or another, I don't know, bad thing, and then you can get the pushables here. And the whole idea is we can put the tunic here, and once you get the tunic, maybe over in this room, you can now push something out of the way and come this way and work your way over here. And then, you know, another couple different puzzles with the Sokoban style pushing, right? Now that you can push, you're pushing these little things around in defending yourself. And then let's just say that there's one more screen or whatever, and then you can come out this way. And then the idea is, if this is all dungeon area, then down here is all overworld, right? So once you exit the dungeon over here, if the dungeon's entrance where it is right now is right here, then we come out over here with the tunic because we worked our way through. And maybe if you come, like, maybe what we do is we add a little alcove here, and it's maybe blocked off with fence posts or something, and so maybe it's blocked off like here and here, and there's a boulder right here. So if you exit the dungeon with the tunic, you can walk your way around and come into the scene of the entrance of the dungeon now with the tunic, and you can push this boulder out of the way, which then permanently like unlocks this shortcut, right? So we have the ability to use the Sokoban pushing in the dungeon, but still making the player go all the way through the dungeon in order to use, well, because what I don't want is the player to be able to just go get the tunic real quick and then come out this way and do whatever they want with the power to push, right? I kind of want the bulk of whatever the reward of the tunic is to be past the dungeon, right? So they have to get through it in order to reap the benefits, right? Like, so if the pass, whatever we call it, like the pathway to the Arctic Mountain, if it's over here, then they could get the tunic, not come through this way, and be able to beat the demo and get, unlock that first next biome of the Ice Mountain. So I think instead of putting that over there, maybe we do keep this and that's a shortcut, but the big thing over here is over here and up. This is where the Ice Mountain is. So if you come in here and get the tunic, that's great. You can push objects now, but there's nothing in the first part of the game that really rewards the tunic. Like maybe we have one or two little things you can push in order to maybe get a couple more screens of stuff. But the bulk of it is you have to work your way through the dungeon. Then you can open the shortcut. Then you can push the boulder this way or whatever to unlock the next biome. Now I do want, because one of the features of the pushing mechanic is that he goes into the little pushing animation. So I kind of like the idea that there are pushable objects that he will push up against, but they don't move. And it's not until you're in the dungeon and you open the treasure chest and you get the tunic that it says, this is the tunic of strength. It looks like you're stronger now, or something, kind of, hinting that you're stronger now with the tunic equipped. So I like the idea of teasing a thing that you can push over here at the beginning. So if you walk into it, he's doing his little pushing animation, but it doesn't do anything. So maybe that's just like a heart container or something here, because we need those heart containers also in the game. So maybe there's a heart container at the beginning. So if you only get a little bit into the dungeon, you get the tunic, you can come out here and get a heart container, but you can't unlock the mountain biome until you work your way through this first dungeon. I think that's making sense to me, and maybe I'm kind of thinking, I think I want the player to be able to upgrade a whole heart worth in the demo, right? So maybe in the demo, I mean, you know, either we hide 4 heart containers in the overworld. So maybe there's 2 on this side and 2 past. I kind of want 4. I kind of want 4 of them hidden in the overworld over here, so that if you're having problem in the dungeon with the bats, that you can get your 4 heart containers, upgrade your hearts, and then fight the bats with more hearts. I think that's a bit overkill though, because what I just, you know, I think either the heart container needs to just give you a whole new heart, at least for the demo, so that we don't have to make them get 4 before they see any benefit. Either we do that, or we do 4 and it's only a tiny benefit, right? So I'm kind of leaning towards the heart container is a whole heart container. So like it's not 4 that you need to collect. That might change as the game gets bigger, but it'd be nice if we start with 3 hearts and then you can get up to 5 hearts before you have to work your way through the dungeon and fight the bats and stuff. 3 that are easy to find and 1 that's hidden. Encourage the player to search for it. I think that's a good call when we have more screens and more hearts. It's just that for the demo, there's not going to be a whole lot of material. So I'm worried if the 4th one is hard to find, then they do all the work to get 3, and then the benefit if they do the work and get the hidden 4th is just a 1 heart benefit. But I guess, okay, no, I do like if you're also saying that we stick with a heart container is just a whole heart, then we can have these 2 easy ones that are like gimmies and then the hard one. So it's like an optional 6th heart for you if you find the extra, the little secret one. Yeah, I think that's the move, Squinge, as long as we get a whole heart for each container. Because I just don't like the idea of gathering 4 just to get 1 heart, at least when the game's this small. So I like that idea. So maybe we do two easier ones and then 1 secret one that you have to either, maybe you have to do like maybe you have to, and I'm kind of thinking about what the NPC quests are going to be like. Like, I think we can use our spellcasting to maybe help the NPCs in the village, because part of the story is they are not welcome to you. They don't like you at the beginning of the game, and you have to earn their trust. So we do have to kind of eventually do some little like mini missions for the NPCs. So maybe this harder heart is behind like a side quest that you have to get the element for. So you have to at least have your spellcast element, and then you can potentially unlock this heart. I don't exactly know yet, but this other idea I'm thinking of is for the elements, and I'm trying to find a way that makes it not I don't want to say boring, but like we want to encourage the player to explore, and if they're just really good at using their spellcast, they can just kind of mow their way through all the enemies and just not have to backtrack or do anything, they can just plow forwards. But I want them to have to kind of touch base at like a home base or something. So I was thinking, and this has been an idea for a while in the game, is that the element you get has a vibrancy, which is like a power left in the element for you to harness. And as you spellcast, it lowers the vibrancy and it gets less saturated as you use it. And then you have to just go to your bedroom or something and meditate to recharge its vibrancy or something like that. So like I don't want it to feel like I'm just making it artificially harder, but I just want to add another mechanic that helps you, that just breaks up whatever you're trying to do just a bit. Like, you can't just plow forward all the time. You have to kind of do a little check-in and come back home, charge your batteries, come back out, and you can continue to forge forward. So I don't think that won't be that hard of a mechanic to use. It'll just be like, let's say we have our vibrancy or whatever element we have equipped, and anytime we're successfully casting, we drain its vibrancy. That can tie directly into the saturation of the render of the spell element in our hand. And then if we don't have any vibrancy, we can't cast a spell with it. So maybe we do that. Just because, that'll help. That'll be one more mechanic that'll kind of keep some interest, maybe. I don't know, though. I don't want it to feel like gimmicky, so I think this is a good idea for a start. Like, I like this idea of you're going to get your ass handed to you if you walk in here without your spell cast, without your elements, right? So the sign will say danger, and you'll be able to walk into here right away like we are right now. It's just like 3 screens away from where we spawn. But if you walk in there without having got the spell, the element for fire spell casting, you're going to get your ass handed to you in these first 2 dungeons. Then by the time you get your spell, you can get to this tunic. And then by the time you can push things, now you have to solve these little puzzles while using your spell casting, and then you can earn your way out. Okay. Let me just look. I think we have... What did we say in here? We said about 8 scenes for the dungeon. We modeled something similar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not dead set on the number. It's just an idea. So maybe we can add art containers on here, because I think that's an important mechanic to have. And it also gives us an excuse to design things and be able to stash certain rewards. What else? So as far as I know, bats are pretty much done. The only thing I think I want to add to the bats is give them a spawn zone. And I think I want to do I kind of want there to be like a little hole over here, and they come through the hole and then pursue us, and then whenever we cleanse them, they fly out, and then a new one can come in, so that there's like a constant stream of them, but it's not overwhelming, right? So we're able to kind of have a constant threat for the player, but also kind of force them to move and feel some pressure in the dungeon, because it should feel dangerous, right? We don't have a death animation, which we need a game over state and a death and a respawn, right? So that'll be important too. Okay. So I think at the bare minimum, what I want to do today in code is at least reset our bats to be corrupted whenever we leave the scene. And then we'll see. Because I probably got to get to bed in the next 30 minutes here. I've got to drive across town tomorrow starting at like 5:40 in the morning. I gotta leave. Not even across town, across state. Okay, so there's when we do our scene transition. Oh, you know what? Okay, so this is twofold. We had this reset for our geckos, so that if we cleanse a gecko, walk off, and come back on, they're corrupted again. And that's because we put in our finish shifting function, finish shifting, we say, go ahead and reset. Where do we define this? We say, reset our original position for the collidable map objects, or for the entities, but then also, I thought we reset the entity's corruption state, but I guess I'm not seeing that. Yeah, maybe we don't have that anymore, but we need a way to kind of re-corrupt them. Now we can't just put it in the finish shifting because our dungeon isn't technically a scene shift, it's a scene warp. Because if we look at our map, we're at map 112, and when we walk out, we're at 7.4. So we really warp across the map when we draw it, versus here, 7.4 to 7.5, so those are right next to each other when we draw it. So these are all adjacent, but this is so those were all scene transitions, but this is a scene warp. So we need to go to our warp scene or whatever and make sure we're resetting. In a warp zone. What are we doing here? Warp zone collides. We need to do there's another class, or the warp zone is what we use, but that's the class that triggers a warp zone. Here, reset entities upon warp. We have something like that here. So this is this in our warp? Okay, so in our warp zones, we're cycling through our warp zones. For every warp zone in our current map, if we collide with that warp zone, we're going to trigger warping. We're going to reset a treasure chest. We're going to start that transition. So it's like the curtains that kind of close and open for the transition. And then we're also resetting, what did I say it was? Reset entities upon warp. So as the curtain closes, once it's fully closed, we cycle through our entities table and we reset original position. So let's go find this reset original position method in our entity class, and we will make sure that we inherit our corrupted true upon that reset. Reset original position. Yeah. So, we do. We set our corrupted to be true. So why is our bats... Oh, we need to reset our animation to be the corrupted animation. Yeah, because if basically once we cleanse them, we change the animation table. So we need to kind of inherit our original declared animation, which isn't so straightforward, but like right here, this is creating animations with the bat entity def, which is the non-corrupted bat, but we need to reset it to be the corrupted bat. So I want to see the entity defs that we do. Okay, so our bat, okay. You know what? It's a little different because our... Okay, so yeah, we have two different animations. Pursue is the corrupted bat, and flee is the brown bat, the uncorrupted bat. See the texture, bat corrupted and bat normal. So we need to kind of reset the animation to pursue for the bat. So it's not this create animations. We already have both of the pursue and the flee animations, but we need to change animation to, where do we even do it? Bat to flee. Where do we do flee? Change animation, flee. It's in this state. Okay. So what's a little weird, we ran into some issues trying to create these animations in the entity defs. So I don't think we can pass this animation table into our entity def, because it would be nice to just say, take your, it'd be nice to say whatever we pass into the entity as a dot animations, just store that as original animation, which in this case would be the corrupted one. And then we can say whenever we close our curtains on our warp zone, all we need to do is reset our dot animations to be equal to our original animations. Then we can be corrupted again. But I know we tried to create animations in the entity def and we were having issues. We kept running into that anim is nil. So we had to move the create animations method into the state itself. So I'm not worried that we don't have the animations created, but we have to change the animation instead of reset it to original. So I think I'm not so happy about it, because we have to do some nasty stuff like this where we say if the type is bat and we reset our position, then we just need to update our animation table to be, we need to change our animation to the pursue bat animation. So when we reset our entities upon leaving a scene in a warp zone, we're saying, is the entity in that scene that we're warping from a type bat? If so, change its animation to the corrupted bat. So it should reset to purple once we cleanse them in here and then walk out and come right back in. So they're brown, and we walk out, come back in. Index entity 64. It's self dot. Wait, 54. Yo, we have. Oh, we do. We are resetting our animations to original animations. Animations gets original animations. Okay, let me look at, I guess it would be up here. When we define our animations, we do create animations on the defined thing, but we don't change. Yeah, we still need to, because our animations table does not change, but which animation is changed to isn't updated. So we do need to still change animation. Is it? Let me map declarations. It's bat flee. No, that's the state. Yeah, it should just be this. Change animation on the entity. Just like how our flee state is saying. See, okay. So if we take this one line out in our bat flee state, I bet we'll crash on that entity. Yeah. See, we keep getting this error. We cannot change animation. Why can't we do this? We can't change animation to a key even though we know this dot entity, since we're passing in the exact entity as this self dot entity. The dot animations table is there. It's already created. We do that in the init, in our entity defs. So I don't get why we have to kind of re-say, okay, well, remember our dot animations table? It's actually this entity def at bat animations table, by the way. Okay, now we can change to flee. I don't get why we have to do that. It might be... Let's take a look at this create animations method and see if there's anything screwy with it. All it is a table of animations, and we cycle through all the parameter animations, we pass it, and we make a key for every one of those, and we put in an animation instantiation with all of the values from the animations that we pass in. Then we just return that table. So there's nothing that shouldn't, when we run this create animations, we pass it in a dot animations from our bat entity defs. So I don't see why we'd have to redeclare this in order to change our animation. So it's weird because we define it right here. We say when we insert it, we insert the dot animations into our animations table for the entity. So the dot animations at this point in time, actually, where's this original animations? Are we actually... I don't see where we're doing this original animation, so this actually might be screwing us up. We don't have original animations. Let's just take that out. Let's see if it's mad at us doing that. Okay, and then... Okay, so that is probably what was screwing us up. When we reset our original position, we need to not change our animations table, but change the animation that we're at. So if the type is equal to bat, then we want to change our animation. Now, ideally, we have an animation name like default, right? So like if I guess it would be corrupted, right? Whatever the animation for the corrupted enemy is, we just default it to be called corrupted so that we don't have to ask what type the entity is. We just say, just change animation to the corrupted one. And it knows, based on its dot animations table, that the change animation is the corrupted one we want to change to. Yo, Glizzy, what's up? If you're not stuck in an ad right now, let me know and I can tell you, because I think ads might have just ran. Okay, so this looks to be like we reset the bats. Let's see. Okay, so they're all brown, they fly off. We come back and they are purple again. And they still... Uh-oh. Only one of them's tracking us now. Ooh. There's got to be another... Let's look at the bat walk state, because there must be another... there must be another thing we need to reset. We... Shoot. Sorry, Glizzy. Sorry. Yeah, you keep rocking out. Okay. Let's see again if they pause like this again. So they pursue. They pursue. If we walk off, come back on. Idle. Pursue, pursue, pursue. Okay, and then if we cleanse them. Wait a bit. Exit, come back. Do they pursue again? Two of them do. What the fuck? We might need to reset our DX or something, because our vectors for the chase state is based on the entity position, and then our reset original position takes in an original X and an original Y. So we might, if these aren't right values, then our DX might be incorrectly calculated. So let's make sure we have an original X and original Y for our bats. So in our declarations here, we should have an original... Do we not? I think in our entity init it might be original X. Let's see. In our entity class, yes, we take in whatever we define as our X and Y, and we save it as an original position. Okay. So the X position is probably fine. We should, maybe it's this, it's maybe, I mean, that's fine, right? If we reset our dx and dy to 0. Let me see. I don't know why it's not tracking us. It should pursue us once we cleanse them and have them respawn. So we'll give it a second. Come back. Yep, so we do need to flush their DX because they just flew right away. Okay, change state to entity idle, reset a particle system if they have it. There's got to be another thing in our bat entity that we're just missing. So like when we go to pursue the player, it's based on our vectors here. So if any of this stuff is wrong, it might not track us. So we might, well, you know, we create local variables here, so anytime we run it, we get the new value. So as long as our player X, yeah, as long as that's correct, we should be okay. Let's go into our bat class, our bat walk state, and we'll just turn on some debugging for the X and Y position for the entity, and we'll see if the ones that aren't moving have a weird X and Y. I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of, because if the X position is all weird and didn't get reset proper, it could affect our vector math. So let's see. They fly off. We come back on. What the heck? They didn't even... They didn't even reset their position. I don't know why they didn't do it that time. They weren't in the idle state. They were. Why did they do that? We change state to the entity idle. Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm going to let him fly off. We're going to reset him and see if the X's are jacked. Well, entity 61. So yeah, Glizzy, we added the bats are tracking us. I don't know when the last time is you watched, but we've got treasure chest. We've got the bats. We can cleanse them. And they track. What the heck? Wow. What the heck happened there? So they're just not pursuing us for some reason. It does look like we're resetting their positions correctly, but there's got to be something in the flea that we're changing. You know, we might, well, not hit. I don't think we use this displacement anymore, so we should be able to get rid of that. Okay. Well, our bat flea state is pretty lightweight. So it's got to be something we're setting in our walk state that is preventing them from pursuing us. Maybe in our get distance to player function we're passing in and locking in. Well, let's see. No, yeah, it just takes in whatever the entity's position is and we update it every... Wait. Oh, we do it in the process AI. I'm going to try to plop it in the update and just see if it changes anything. Okay. Yeah, only one of them's tracking us. So why is it that the first one is tracking us okay and the rest aren't? And then sometimes it was two. Do we need to reset our walk speed to the original walk speed? Because we do, I think we set our walk speed to 0 at some point, so maybe in our entity class, in our reset original position, we need to reset our walk speed too, because we aren't doing that here. Do we have... Yeah, we should have original walk speed. I think we do. It's in the entity class. Yes. Okay. Well, actually... Yeah, it should be defined up here. Original walk speed. We don't have original walk speed. Okay, so we're going to take whatever we define our walk speed to be for our entity. We're going to save it right off the bat as our original walk speed. Because we could modify this walk speed in the AI for the bat. I don't think we do, but I think I want to say we do modify it at some point. I don't remember why. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do have our original walk speed here. Yeah, we set our walk speed to 0 if we get close to the player, so we stop moving. So we just need to reset our original walk speed upon a warp, and then we should be okay. And I think we already added it. Original walk speed. Yes. Okay. Let's try it. I'm thinking that might be it. Because the oscillation's working, so we know the sine function's working, the position reset's working, but they're not chasing us because they have no walk speed. Son of a... It's not self.entity, it's just self, because we are the entity. Okay, they're corrupted again, they're tracking, and they're tracking. Cool. Nice. Okay. Cool. So I think that might be it for tonight. I think tomorrow, let's check the log of what we need to do. We've got our bats. You know, I'm okay marking bats done now that we've got their reset position. So we can move bats off our to-do list. Okay, so the next priority option, or the next priority task, is to design the dungeon. So we have an idea of what we want it to look like, and it's this. So the tunic's going to be in like the third dungeon. You're going to be able to push a boulder out of the way, and then a couple more dungeons, and then we come out through another warp zone on the other side of the dungeon's entrance. And then you can unlock a shortcut once you have the tunic, and also the end of the demo is over there as well. So this is enough on our plate. of priority stuff to take a while, right? I don't think it'll take actually that long. Well, so yeah, I think we'll add a spawning cave for the bats. That'll be one of the next things. So if we can add a spawning cave to the bat, make sure the bats are rendering above our top level tile so that the doorway doesn't render over them like it is now. So you know what? Yeah, I think we're going to move our bats back over here. And then we're going to say that, yeah, this is just... It's also going to be... So it's going to be bats render order and spawn points for the cave. Spawn points in a cave. And then once we have them coming out of the wall in the cave, then we can build a little chasm pathway that we can fall in. We already have the math to trigger a fall for the player. So if the bat spits at us, knocks us in range of a chasm, it'll knock us down there, make us lose health. And I think it would be a good idea to do the death animation at this point because we have real enemies. So that's probably going to be another high priority thing. I'm choosing the priorities based on like the stuff, basically stuff I don't want to do, like tougher stuff. So I think this is the not so glorious stuff, not so easy stuff about game dev is going to be the level design, right? So we kind of need to knock it out so that we can finish the demo. So that's a lot on our plate. So this is good. You know, we're working on the dungeon design coming up, and we're going to actually be able to die here soon and restart a game. So that'll be good. Let us add a commit, and all we really did is just reset corrupted bats upon warp zones. Cool. So yeah, we got the bats done, at least the first iteration of them. We'll just change how they spawn, and then we'll actually do level design for the dungeon next episode. So I'm going to run the credits for our credited supporters who are making it possible to host the game on Steam here. When we finish the demo, we'll be able to pay for it to put on Steam thanks to the supporters. So thank you to everyone who has followed on YouTube and Twitch. I really appreciate it. And we'll raid out here as long as Hypnotic is programming. Yeah, Hypnotic is doing some pixel art, it looks like, so we'll raid out. And I hope everyone has a great night. And I'll catch y'all later. Thanks for watching.